Number 1. George Floyd in the Backrooms. A young nigga named George Floyd went missing a couple weeks ago. He was involved in a shootout with police when he was running from his 6 warrants for his arrest. After that he was never seen again. I work at an old furniture store. One day when I was fiddling with the breaker downstairs I saw a door I had never seen before. It smelled faintly of marijuana. One day I decided to investigate the door. I found a place. It was like an old office building underground. I mapped it out and explored the mysterious place. I found a trail of white powder that smelled of fentanyl. It led to a message on the floor with the white powder reading, Floyd. I kept walking, and saw shit stains covering the walls. I heard whispers and footsteps. Nigga was whispered behind me. I can't breathe was spoken in the distance. From behind a corner I saw the massive deformed George Floyd stumble out. His eyes looked lifeless and still. He was 10 feet tall and walked with a limp. He chased me through the yellow halls. I screamed, "Get away from me nigga." I ran into a dead end, and saw the massive shadow rise behind me. I clenched in fear and turned around. He stared me down looking angry and said again, "I can't breathe." I looked up at his eyes and told him, "Don't worry Floyd. You don't have to breathe. It's just the way we're wired." He then reached into his back pocket and pulled out a Draco and dumped 30 rounds into me. Number 2. Do not play Rainbow Six Siege with George Floyd. I commonly played Siege late into the night. I would solo queue copper ranked until I wanted to circumcise myself with a can opener. I loaded into a game and saw an unfamiliar map. It looked like Oregon but it was called Chicago. Weirdly, I only had one teammate. His name was G.Floyd63. I thought I was doomed since it was a 2 versus 5 on a map I have never seen. Floyd played Wamai and I played Tachanka. I didn't remember Wamai having the Glock with the switch but it may have been the new update. I called him a nigga for team killing me. But he hit a nasty run out and blicked down the entire enemy team. Next round he played the new operator, George Droid. I chose to play Stephen Hawking for his mobility. Suddenly the entire enemy team was gone and a new objective showed up. Survive. Floyd was now on the enemy team and he was coming for me like a raging ape. I hid in a corner. I heard footsteps to my right but there was nothing there. I took off my headset and I heard running to the right outside my bedroom door. A black man sledgehammered my bedroom door down before shooting me 20 times. That man was G.Floyd63. Number 3. George Floyd was my Doordasher. I am a tubby fellow. I order Doordash commonly. I decided to order Popeye's chicken wings and a grape Fanta. It was getting dark out and I had just placed my order. The notification came up that my order went through, and my Doordash driver was a man named George Floyd. I looked at his profile and a sinister nigga with a huge nose stared back at me. I ignored it and waited patiently for my food. Almost 20 minutes later a knock came from my front door. I got to the door and the food was left there in the dark. I brought it inside and opened the bag. Inside was a bunch of chewed up chicken bones. My soda was also empty. I was furious. That nigga ate my food. I ran outside but there wasn't any trace of him. I was getting a refund when I heard a tap on the window. By this point it was pitch black outside. I peeked through the blinds and staring back at me were 2 eyes in the darkness and a set of big black nostrils. I jumped back in fear. He began knocking and banging like a wild ape. I opened the door to see what the deal was but he disappeared in the darkness. The air smelled like fried chicken and a small trace of white powder was left on my doorstep. I checked the Doordash app again and there was no trace of my order. The George Floyd profile never existed. That nigga Jew scammed me out of a $20 Popeyes order. I never ordered Doordash again out of fear the George Floyd would one day return. Number 4. George Floyd's Island. 20 years ago Epstein's Island was booming. Michael Jackson, LeBron, Stephen Hawking were all moving like crazy with little kids on the island. Stephen Hawking was inseparable from Epstein's Island. Eventually a black George Floyd came along and made a deal with Epstein. He would supply Chicago's finest fentanyl in exchange for his very own island. Floyd's Island was an epicenter for young Jewish boys and lots of drugs. George Floyd would constantly be fent-folded at his island. He became a Jew with his big-ass nose and expanded his money and drug business. Epstein couldn't stand the fact that his accomplice was now his rival. Floyd was stealing all the little boys for himself. Epstein was told that Floyd was a cautious man. He thought they were alike in that way. Simply killing Floyd would be impossible to do. The Jew nigga had George droids defending him at all times. Epstein arranged a meeting with Floyd to discuss selling his own island to Floyd. Stephen Hawking would attend this meeting, and little did Floyd know there was a bomb attached to his wheelchair. Epstein stepped out of the room and fled the island. Hawking distracted him with his robot voice.
Last chance to look at me, actor.
I want to go to the island. I want to go to the island. Hawking detonated and disintegrated the Jew nigga and his big-ass nose. Number 5. The George Floyd Goonicide Incident. Nautica Malone was best friends with George Floyd. The two niggas may even be considered gay lovers. They frequently jerked off together, especially in the car out in public. The two men decided to go through the Popeyes drive-thru during one of their goon sessions. They ordered a bucket of fried chicken. They pulled up to the window with no pants on, dick in hand gooning to the drive-thru worker. They were startled when they realized the worker was recording them. They panicked, grabbed their chicken and sped off in the infamous Goon Mobile. They used the chicken grease on their hands to jerk off. They covered the inside of the car with chicken grease and cum. They returned home to their wives with shame. The video had gone viral. They were seen gooning in public by little children. They met up for one last goon together. They were seen gooning at the wheel speeding through town with the windows down. Floyd was moaning, and they were both ass naked. The cops spotted them but they made an escape. They were surrounded in the dead of night but miraculously escaped. They were never seen again after that, but the Goon Mobile was found empty with blood and cum in it. The next day the vehicle disappeared without a trace. Floyd and Malone were never seen again. It is said that if you walk the streets of Detroit at 3 a.m., you will see the ghost of the goon patrolling and gooning about in the streets.